Hello friends, welcome back. Today we are going to do this super fun Baja Blast colored hair, a really unique hairstyle with her bob and little braids underneath, and that is her hair, not extensions. So I just had to fix it up a little for her. This was the only little video I got, but this is what we started with, completely virgin. So I had to clean up that top and underneath because she loves having her little braids under. So first I braided out that hair and then just gave it a quick little before cut just so we're not wasting any lightener. So we've got that long hair underneath and the short on top. It's kind of like a jellyfish cut, except for they are kind of separated and make two braids. So before we do anything, we are going to spray her with my K18 molecular repair mist. You know, that is going to keep her nice and healthy during the lightening process. So now, like I said, her hair is virgin, never colored. So I was super excited because I know it's going to lift beautifully. And I am just going to take these really fine sections. And just like I've done in my other platinum card videos, we are going to super saturate, but stay just a little off the root. Everything that's close to the root is going to process super fast because we have the heat from our scalp. So as long as we keep it a little off the root, it's not going to over process in that area because that part is going to go platinum super quick. As usual, I am using Danger Jones powder lightener, and I started with a 5 volume. I know that doesn't sound like much, but if you've seen my other videos, you actually can get an insane 9 level lift with the 5 volume. It just takes a little longer. So the more that you're moving up that developer, not only is it getting stronger, but it's working faster. So that is why I like to bump up that developer as I make my way up, because then I know everything's kind of processing together. But like I said, I am just saturating. I'm getting those little hairs and then those 2 long pieces on each side and really saturating. Now, I will say, I know this looks like it's going to be a huge job, but I personally believe that something like this is one of the easiest colors to do. And that is because I don't have to make perfect highlights. I don't have to section anything out. I am just taking super thin slices, saturating the heck out of them, and then putting that foil on. All that we have to do is stay off the root and come back to it later. But the most important part is that we're saturating everything. You can definitely move through a head a lot quicker when you're not taking little weaves and little slices and dropping hair and coloring hair. It's just everything. So I honestly feel like this is one of the easier things to do, even though it's very time consuming and it's very intricate because you really need those small sections. Every section you take, you're going to want to be able to see through it, because if it's too thick, you're not going to get that perfect lift. I know I talk about this all the time if you've watched my other videos, but I am telling you, thin sections and really saturate. You can see how I just keep putting that lightener on there and really working it through, making sure that it's under the hair, move the hair around. You can just see how much I'm using. Now I also have that balayage board under there. I really love boards for when I'm doing long pieces like this. If you're just using a foil, it can be really easy to use too much product and still not work it in properly. When you have that board, it really gives you something stable to paint on. So I feel like it makes it a lot easier. But I am just now done with those long pieces and we only have her short hair. Using my comb to comb that through, that is another really great trick. If you feel like your client has really dense hair, you can take that comb it right through, and then fold up your foil. Perfect. And you can see I don't like to fold the hair that's being lightened very often, because then you can risk having that line in there. I've brought that up before also. I hate it when I do a foil and I fold it, and then when I unfold it, there's like a line in the hair. It's the worst. So I just love laying down another flat foil when I'm taking longer sections like this. But you can see I am just saturating, putting a ton of lightener through there, and then closing it up the long way. And I also don't have to worry about my foils slipping, because I know that some people might wonder, like, well, how are you locking the foil in if you're just putting one on top? But I'm telling you, if you've watched my other videos, you've heard me say this, Danger Jones lightener is like a paste, and that is not going anywhere. These foils do not slip. When I do the root, you have to really like tug on it a little to get it to move. So this is probably one of the first powder lighteners that I've ever used that doesn't get really watery and slippery, and you have bleed marks and things like that. Where you're putting it, it's going to stay there, and that's probably one of my favorite things about the lightener, besides the fact that it lifts incredibly. But now that we are moving up to the top of the head, you can see that I combined my two sections on the side into one section in the middle. And then I like to put a little lightener underneath and then work it through. And we are almost done with the back of the head. All right, so once we finish the back of the head, I'll be moving to her front panels, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing. Take really nice, thin, horizontal slices and then just saturate. Like I said, this is a really hard one to mess up, because you could do vertical slices, you could do diagonal slices, you can do whatever you want. The only thing that matters is that each and every hair is getting covered. So this is just, like I said, one of those things you can't mess up. You're not leaving out any hair. We don't have to weave anything. This is so easy, and I wish that I could have virgin hair unicorns like this more often. Now, when I started to go back through and hit her roots, because like I said, we are staying off the root, that is going to process super fast. As soon as I started to go and hit her roots, my phone storage was full and it stopped recording. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you want to see what it looks like when I pull those foils and hit the roots, I have quite a few other videos that have that. You can go to episode 41, episode 45. Both of those are full platinum cards where I had to go back and hit the roots later. So those are great ones to watch if you really want to see me do the full head, or if you don't understand how to hit the roots on a platinum card. Those are great. I cannot believe, but luckily I have two phones, so I started recording with the other one and we did get the rest of it. So no worries. You just aren't going to see me hit all of her roots as I go back through. Now, by this time, I'm probably using about a 15 volume developer. Danger Jones does not make 15 volume. That is just mixing a 10 and a 20 together. So I usually will go 5, 10, 15, 20. It's very rare that I ever go above a 20 volume, especially on somebody like this, because her hair is naturally pretty light already. So I don't have to worry about like blasting it with some crazy high developer. And even when people have dark hair, I just really rarely will go over a 20 volume. It might be like a rare occasion where I have like one section that I really need to lift quick, and I'll just like make a quick bowl with a little 30. But even then, it's like so rare. Really, you don't need more than a 20 to get incredible 9-level lift with this lightener. And then I love these big foils from Fraymar. They're amazing when you're doing these large sections like this, because they just cover everything. So you can get it all saturated and good to go. One of the only times that I use big foils like this is when I'm doing platinum cards. It just makes everything so much easier. And if you wanted to, instead of doing two sections in the back, you could absolutely just do one long section with those big foils. But I feel like I never get as even of a saturation, and it's a little more difficult when I go back and hit the roots because of the curvature of the head. So I would rather do the two sections in the back and then have the one as it meets at the top. And then I have no problem doing these big sections on the side. But obviously I sped it up. This is not how fast I work. And we are done with our original lightening. Beautiful. I used like 7 different foils on her. All right, so this is when my beautiful storage ran out, but you can see I'm starting to hit the roots and pulling that foil down just a little, and then my phone storage ran out. So here is what we wound up with after I washed everything out. Now I want to get her really nice and light. So after I washed her out, I used the K18 Detox shampoo, and then we came back to the chair and I used my K18 Molecular Repair Mist one more time. Now I'm kind of going through and hitting any mids to ends that didn't lighten as much as the base. Because if you remember, I've talked about this in other videos, even when the hair is virgin, there is a good chance that the ends are not going to lift as easily as the base. Now, this could be from product buildup, chemical buildup, mineral buildup, product buildup, oils. It could be a number of things, but it's just that hair, as it ages and grows out, it's harder to lift. And then that hair that's close to the scalp, it's cleaner, it's newer, it has that heat from the scalp to help lift it. So that is why I'm just kind of going through and wet balayaging anything that I feel like needed to be lifted a little bit more. And I don't need her to be like platinum white level 10 because she likes that minty green. So it's going to be perfect with that bit of yellow. So here's our formula. I used 110 grams of Ransom and 20 grams of Raygun from Danger Jones. Ransom is a newer pastel teal, and then Raygun is the neon yellow. So I added just a little bit of that neon yellow, and this is gonna give us that total Baja Blast moment. I'm obsessed with this color. It's so beautiful. But first, I like to take really nice thin sections when I use it on the base because you really want to make sure that everything is saturated, and then I will work it through the ends after. But once again, saturation is key. And when you're doing it on the base like this, you really need, once again, those tiny, tiny sections. Gosh, doesn't it look like taffy? I want to eat it. But we are just going to comb that through. I love these color brushes that have the comb on the end. They are perfect. And we are just gonna have, it's such a good pastel. I wish that you could see it in person because, the color that it made was just stunning. I feel like if you had to pick a color that was just fairy hair, this is fairy hair. And I do understand as I'm painting these long hairs that maybe some people are going to say that they don't like it, and that is fine because this haircut is not for you, it is for her. I think it's super cute. It is what she wanted, and when you style it, especially in those cute little rope braids, it is fantastic. And I think it suits her so well with her personal style. And that's what the best part about hair is. It's all about self-expression. I would be doing myself a disservice, my son, my clients, if I told anybody that I didn't like their way of self-expression. And it kind of broke my heart that this was my first time doing her hair, and she told me that she had had other people, professional stylists, show them this is what I want, this is how I like my little tails, and basically asked her, are you sure? So I don't know, that's pretty messed up. Let people enjoy things. The world is like a hellfire shitstorm. And so it is amazing when people find something that makes them happy. So if somebody likes something and it makes them happy, let them like it, let them enjoy it. I'm sure that you would not want somebody to tear down things that you love. And that is my inspirational talk of the day. But as you can see, I am just making my way through with this Raygun and Ransom mixture. Are you guys wanting a Baja Blast yet? Because I'm absolutely wanting to go get a Baja Blast right now. Okay, but we'll go back to the hair and be serious for a second. So after I apply all of this semi-permanent color to her hair, I am going to let her process for about 25 minutes, and then we are going to rinse it out with ice cold water, and that is going to help maintain that color. So anytime you have a fashion color, you really want to use ice cold water to rinse it. It will help with the longevity, especially on a pastel like this. And after I wash her out with that ice cold water, I like to finish off with the K18 leave-in mask that is going to help restore her hair back to virgin strength. I do not let anybody leave my salon without K18 in their hair. It is just the best product ever. I love it. And then after that K18 mask sits in for 4 minutes, I also like to use the K18 Heat Bounce Spray, the K18 Volumizing Mist, and then my Leaf and Flower 7-minute Blowout and the Leaf and Flower Frizz Remedy Spray. These are my perfect blowout products. And then before I use any hot tools, I like to use the K18 hair oil. And then that gives me protection of up to 450 degrees. So that's all the products that I used on her hair. And then of course, like a little hairspray or texturizing spray if you want it. But we are just going to keep on saturating. And isn't it crazy how as soon as you put the color on and when it's in the bowl, it looks like bluish gray. And then as soon as it starts to process on the head, it turns to that like minty Baja Blast green. So interesting. I love color theory. And I think it's fascinating because most semi-permanent colors, it's just like the color you get and what comes out of the bottle, that's the color that it is. But with these Danger Jones semis, some of them, it's like it oxidizes almost like a permanent or a semi-permanent color because it does kind of change color as it's in the head. And I've never really seen that with a semi. But they are very true to tone and the fade out is always incredible. They have definitely become my favorite Vivid line over the years. And we are almost done and ready to show that after. I'm so excited. It looks so cute with her little rope braids. This is also one of the few times you will see a towel around my guest's neck and not one of my plastic bibs. I love those bibs, but I used the last one I had when I did her roots and I couldn't believe it. I usually never run out of those because I have backstock, but I ran out. But we are all done. I'm just making sure everything looks good and saturated. And that is it. You guys ready for the after? Oh, so gorgeous. It's like holographic. It's so beautiful. I don't even know how to explain it besides like opalescent fairy hair Baja Blast. And it kind of changes colors as the light goes around because in some light it looks more like minty green and then you can really see the teal. Oh, beautiful. It's like color changing pastel hair. And look at that up close. I just think this style on her is incredible. See, it looks more green on here. It's like shining. And here is outside. You can really see just how pastel and beautiful it is. Like the brightness that comes off it is crazy. But thank you guys so much for joining me for another tutorial. I will see you next Monday with more free education. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye.